Picture this. It was April 17th, 2023. And I don't know if you know where you were, but I was not right now where I am. I was sitting in my home office and I logged into a 10 a.m. Zoom call with my CEO, who was my boss. I worked at an $80 million language translation company. And we were joined by our SVP of HR. And I literally said, "Oh my gosh, I think I'm being fired." Like I was texting my then husband. And sure enough, 10 minutes later, done.
Welcome to Daily Power Boost, Ignite Your Potential, the podcast where your transformation begins. I'm Sean Michael, and each day I'll bring you quick, impactful insights and action steps to fuel your personal and professional growth. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a leader, or someone ready to break limits and ignite greatness, this is your Daily Power Boost to crush obstacles, stay focused, and awaken the extraordinary potential within you. Because remember, greatness begins within. Let's go. All right, everybody, welcome back to Daily Power Boost. Today, I'm excited to be sitting down with someone who doesn't just talk about taking action, she actually lives it. Kristin Gutierrez is the force behind Say Yes and Figure It Out. She helps women, men, anybody stop waiting for the perfect timing and start moving with the identity they actually want to embody, which is why we vibed, because that's what I talk about. What I love about her work, it's not hype, it's real life. It's messy courage and choosing motion over overthinking. So if you are standing at the edge of a decision, calling it not yet, this conversation might hit you right where you've been avoiding. Kristin, welcome to Daily Power Boost.
Oh my gosh, Sean. Thank you so much for having me. And also, I love getting to know you in this way. So thank you for sharing parts of your journey with me already.
Yes. So my opener, you probably been asked this over and over, but my question might have a little different angle. Where were you in life when Say Yes and Figure It Out became more than just a catchy phrase? Was it collapsing? What was calling you? What made you choose action over certainty?
Well, picture this. It was April 17th, 2023. And I don't know if you know where you were, but I was not right now where I am. I was sitting in my home office and I logged into a 10 a.m. Zoom call with my CEO, who was my boss. I worked at an $80 million language translation company. And we were joined by our SVP of HR. And I literally said, "Oh my gosh, I think I'm being fired." Like I was texting my then husband. And sure enough, 10 minutes later, done. And I was like the breadwinner of the family, multiple six figures. We were renovating a house all the way across the country without cash in the bank. So somebody say not smart. But the play was high risk, high reward, cash out using my J job, like with a refi. I could talk about it all day, but that's where I was because in that moment, I needed to choose what happened and make what happened to me into what happened for me. And by 2 p.m. that day, I won my first client. Like not knowing what I was selling, not even like, I know you talked about it and we'll get into it, but like the dream that's on your heart, or in my case, on my whiteboard, that I wasn't courageous enough to pursue because debt, obligations, family, California living, like whatever, right? That was
right. The proverbial golden cage, right?
Yes. And I said, if not now, then when? Like fast forward, because we'll go into all the detail, but I was locked arms with a mentor and I became known as the LFG queen in that community because I literally was, from an outsider's perspective, I was having tremendous success, monetizing $20,000 a month, like just killing it. But I was drowning in a financial crisis. And it was literally like, I was not getting my nails done. I was not doing anything fancy. I was surviving at the worst of all places. Say Yes and Figure It Out came to be because of my imperfect action I took that day, and I never stopped taking. And then and we'll talk about the framework and all of the things, but Yeah, it was April 17th, 2023 at 10:10 a.m.
And it's usually, I've heard this story several times and I kind of lived it. It's some massive event like that your world just explodes.
Yeah.
And, you know, your greatest advancement can come out of that, I think, if you open your ears and listen to your heart.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we're still standing at the edge going, not ready yet.
Because everybody well-intended in my life, my then husband, my family, right? My sister, my friends, my community from my career. I spent 18 years in that industry, the translation industry. Everyone said, get a job. Everyone. My dad's like, oh, go get a bartending job at night. Like, and I am not above hard work. I had to tune it all out because society or externally or even our own internal beliefs, like they stop us in our tracks and make us feel like a fraud. Like that's where imposter syndrome comes from. And I needed to lock arms with people who were one step ahead to almost, even though I couldn't see how I was going to make any money, let alone start getting out of the financial crisis, I was like, okay, if they believe in me, I should believe in me. And if they can prove, they were scaled to like 3 million at the time. So if they can get to 3 million, I can get to 3 million, right? It's like, because otherwise it's going to beat you down.
Right. Well, and I think that's a key point is if we can shift our mindset to say, well, he can do it, she can do it, I should be able to do it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we're caught in these traps that, well, I don't have 18 years experience in sales, or I don't have, I myself battled it. Like my dream is to coach CEOs, executives, and, be the outsider. And that voice came up and they're like, well, you've never been a CEO. What do you know?
Yeah.
And I've had to do a lot of inner work to say, that's exactly the advantage I have. Because I'm not steeped in that. I can look at it from another perspective where I'm not trapped in the normal paradigm.
Yeah.
Right.
I think so that's why people have to listen to your podcast and stay in the growth mindset around this, igniting your.
Right. Growth mindset. And we also vibe on this identity.
Yeah.
Like you've got to let go of the old identity. It got us where we got to, but its time is over.
Yeah.
It's time to, like the snake, right? Shedding its skin. It's time to shed it and move on, because you can't move on if you're holding.
One of my clients is from Africa, and I'm helping him write his first book it's called No Shoes, No Regrets. And it's his story. It's a framework, but it's wrapped in his story about how he walked to school barefoot for 10 years. Like he literally, like, I don't want to say the word escape, but he had to choose a life that he wanted. And he had to have this relentless self-belief that in order to overcome the old identity, because otherwise we're having conversations like, all I hear from people is like, oh, you can do it, but I can't. Or like, oh, she makes it look easy, which is a lot of times why I tell people I had like $350,000 of consumer debt, not counting my 2 mortgages, not counting, like, that was not smart. And it's not obviously to impress anybody. It's to impress upon people that I'm coming out of it now, 2 years later, but not without lots of messy, imperfect action, showing up in spaces where I don't feel like I belong or I feel like an outsider. We're trying to overcome every single day my own limitations, to shed my skin, like you said, and to step into the new identity that I give myself permission for. Like, I feel like I'm blossoming now, but then people see it and they say, oh, well, you don't have it as hard as I have it. I'm like,
right. That, and they're comparing their day 1 to your day 600.
Yeah, 600. Let's go.
2 years, we're over 600 now. So on that, when you started saying yes, without feeling like you're ready, or as you said, not even really knowing which way you were going. You're like, I'm just like LFG. I don't know what I'm going to do, but LFG, let's do it. Which reminds me of the old saying, an entrepreneur jumps off the cliff and builds the plane on the way down.
I have an offer called Build Your Plane. What? Yes.
So who did you have to stop being, and who did you have to start becoming?
Okay. Shout out to my good friend and one of my coaches, this woman, Dr. Andrea Vitz. This is a thing you're not about to have seen coming, because in the middle of losing my job, we have children right to this day that are still 5 and 7. So like young, right? And we're 2 years divorced. The divorce wasn't because of me losing my job. It was something that was happening kind of anyway. And so all of this snowballing was happening. And I was bitter, angry, resentful. My 5-year-old was still 3. I was still suffering postpartum depression. I didn't know my ego was so in the way. And it's crazy that the Kristin of today can admit all of this stuff without shame or fear or guilt, because that was very shameful, guilt-ridden time for me. But the first thing I needed to do was get help for myself. And it's not without having tried traditional modalities. And nothing was working the way I wanted it to work. And one 30-minute phone call with my friend, Dr. Andrea Vitz, changed my life, because she has a program called Emotional Sobriety. So plug for her on a different day, all the things. That's what I had to do first. I mean, I had already started to monetize, but I showed up in Dallas, Texas one time for an event, and I'm 99% of the time, my ex-husband and I, we have a phenomenal relationship. We like live next door to each other. We see each other every day. I talk to him more now than when we were married. But I was in Dallas, Texas, and I was depressed. I was at a community type event with like other entrepreneurs, and somebody was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." But like, you're not fine. I was in the wrong way trying to fake it till I made it, but I was already monetizing. So I'd already lost my job, like all the things. I had to be okay with not being okay. And I had to be willing to receive feedback that like, you should probably like talk to Andrea, because she was there. So it was kind of one of those things. But that was the thing that you didn't think I was going to say. So first, in the middle of the process, I got a lot of mental health help, and it changed my life. My whole family, all my friends, my family, even my baby daddy was like, "What's different? What changed?" Like, we notice you're so much better of a human. And so that happened. But then the evolution of my identity as an entrepreneur, at one point in my journey, I took another job because one of my consulting clients hired me. And I was, maybe my ego's in the way. Maybe like I'm not supposed to do this entrepreneurial thing. And lucky for me, it only lasted 4 months. And at the end of that, it was May 2024 when I was separated from that company. And that's when I drew a line in the sand and I said, no one else's opinions pay my bills. I will eat ramen noodle or whatever the equivalent is to anybody around the world. Like, I will eat noodles and water for the rest of all time to make this work, because this is the feeling of fulfillment of serving others with your gifts and your systems. And like, Sean.
Well, yeah.
And so that
I live by Negu. Never, ever give up. My wife, a few months ago, she's like, this time around, I'm not letting you quit. I said, I have no intention of quitting, because I'm not the same person I was 8 years ago when I was starting on the journey and put it aside because I panicked. And a lot like what you said, like what I was thinking, I had this visual of when you lost your corporate job, you jumped from one speeding train onto a next.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this event in Dallas was like, okay, I got to get off this train too. This isn't any better.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of what we get trapped in, right? We adapt to keep the train moving or to keep things moving forward, but we don't stop and say, hey, am I okay?
Yeah.
No, because I'm not surprised, because I spent 3 years in mental health 3 years or more, both going through a 12-step program and then leading it, planting a church for ex-cons for a year, for ex-cons, drug addicts, homeless, saw lives changed, but due to a lack of support from other churches, they're like, oh, it's a great work you're doing. Keep doing the good work. I'm like, okay, we're surviving on my wife's income and that's it. Like, I've got people who have no income. They're looking for work. They just got out of prison. They just coming off the street. These people don't have money to do it. So yes, I think mental health, you got to, it's the old, put your oxygen mask on first.
Yeah.
For you to help.
It's so true. And I'm glad that we paused on it because yeah, you have a similar story, it sounds like, but it looks a little bit different. The narrative or your journey is somewhat different. And if people realize that 8 years as an entrepreneur, 2 years as like, you have to do the work. It's not without work. My third book is coming out. It's called Simpler, Faster, Richer, because I learned, luckily, in what I call my 2.0 season, which is starting of 2024, that we don't have to outwork ourselves. We don't have to work harder. The hustle, it's a hustle trap. And you should tell your story of where you live and why, because you obviously know that too, right? How do we?
Well, and I talk about it all the time. The grind, like I had an episode, the grind is your God.
Yeah.
Right? Because the whole hustle culture, and as leaders, leaders get their life together and they're not burning themselves out, but they're still burning everybody working with them out.
Yeah, I'm on a mission to do $1 million days. I mean, I'm on a mission to first make my first $1 million, but like, entrepreneurs, we think huge, right? I'm at this event, I'm hosting an event today in Long Beach, California, and we decided that we're going to Malawi, Africa in 2027. Like, that's what's cool about doing the work and putting in the reps to invest again and again and again in other coaches and other people, and to bring people into your world, to then be in a room where you're not worried about the limitations and the costs and the how and like what's going to between here and Malawi. We're just planning Malawi. Going to Malawi to do a mission trip for my client's nonprofit, basically. And we're going to raise him a ton of money in the process. It's going to be so fun. And that's what we're all in it for, is entrepreneurs really are entrepreneurs because we want to have a huge impact. But the reason Simpler, Faster, Richer is the title is because I want people to have permission to be comfortable making money along the way. Like, and I know it, the richness is rich in time, rich in family. Like, there's a lot of things that we're rich in, but it's also like eliminating the negativity around claiming wealth, declaring that I'm worthy and safe to receive millions and millions and millions of dollars. And that, like, that's okay.
Right. And I could even go, like, a lot of times I've seen with entrepreneurs, they still attach their pricing to their worth.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, first off, I'm priceless. My 7-year-old said that. He's like, Daddy, nobody can pay for me. I'm priceless. I'm like, good. I'm teaching him exactly what I want him to know. He is priceless. His worth was there when he was born, and he can't lose it. And neither can anybody listening to me or Kristin or anybody else. Your worth is inherent and you are priceless. The money factor is, what do you deliver? If you're delivering a valuable transformation, and especially if you're working with someone who, suddenly makes 20, 30% more in their business and their job, isn't that worth a slice of that for you if you were a catalyst? All right. So I have a cool question.
Okay.
Everybody talks about courage. Almost nobody talks about the cost of being courageous. What was the fear you had to walk with instead of waiting to eliminate it?
Oh. Yeah. That's good. That's a good question because for me, it comes back to this concept of permission and identity. Like we do have the same vernacular because when I lost my job was one thing. I leaned in, I took a bunch of steps, I celebrated along the way. I was like mesmerized by my own ability to monetize my sales background and sell consulting back to my old industry. But the 2.0 version of me gave myself permission, the courage to serve entrepreneurs because I had my own internal limiting beliefs. Who am I to coach entrepreneurs? I've never done it. Right. And so it was the permission to say, I can package all of my expertise up. My sales expertise turns out is super ninja to have as an entrepreneur. And now I teach entrepreneurs who have accidentally become salespeople how to do sales without being sleazy or salesy. But the courage, if I'm answering it correctly, for me, it was the permission. And it's not, the permission the day I lost my job, the permission the year later when I iterated what I was selling. And honestly, I believe iteration is the name of the game. So
Absolutely.
reverse engineering the failures, like celebrating everything along the way, all of the accidental missteps, all of the wrong turns. Those are just detours leading you to the real path, but consistency compounds. So we can't give up. And the struggle's real. So we have to become our own biggest cheerleader.
You got to love yourself, value yourself, reinvent yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. And I totally agree about permission. It's like, you got to give yourself permission to be who you are underneath all the stuff that's piled on over your lifespan.
And show up online authentically and vulnerably. Because if you're an AI image, is all of your posts are AI written or AI images, it dilutes your know, like, and trust so fast in today's world. Like, people are drawn to my voice. People are called to your voice because we could be selling the exact same thing. But at the end of the day, how you show up, the stories you share, are you being real? Which real is scary. I don't want to have to say how much debt I had, how much I used to make, how much I'm making right now. I share it because it inspires the person who's right behind me, right? Even when they find out how much debt I still have from what happened 2 years ago, I'm not out of it yet. And it's inspiring, not because they're like, ooh, that's bad, Kristin, but it makes them feel better, either because their debt's not that big or because if I can do it, they can do it too. And it
well, and it gives permission, right? Like, it goes with that readiness. Like, no, you're because we hear the rags to riches story, right? Oh, I was $8 million in debt, and 2 years later I was successful and all my debt was paid off. No, well, that sounds nice, but yours is real. Like, hey, I'm still working on it. This was a big mess to clean up. And I totally feel you, because my own experience was, I was afraid to be online.
Oh, that's more common than
but not for the usual reasons. I was afraid to be online because the wrong people would see me and bring up my past. They are still doing it. So I've gained resilience because I said, you know what? I'm showing up. I'm being real. I'm sharing my wisdom with people, and haters going to hate.
Haters are really, I landed myself on Brad Lee's podcast. I don't know if you know who that is. Is like, I think it's 5 million viewers across all his platforms. And he put out a couple reels for our podcast, and haters were hating. Like, not bad. Like at the end, like, you just, I was like, whoa. But I think what you're hitting on is, I'm dating, right? So it's like, I had said to somebody lately, if you saw all the skeletons in my closet, which we can talk about if you want, but like, I'm not judging you for your skeletons because we all have them, whether we're 30, 40, 50, 60, like, you're going to accumulate stories, which sometimes turn into skeletons. And the thing though is, right, like, how do you turn it into your story? not leverage it for bad, but leverage it for good. Because what is your back? I don't know if you feel like if you share it normally, or I'm piecing it together now that I'm talking to you, and I don't want to make any assumptions. So what's your background? Do you share it?
I don't
Oh,
use. I haven't shared it on the podcast. It's on YouTube. I was on
for sure.
both on another podcast when I was a guest, and also I did a speech for, it was like an online virtual event, and I basically just laid the story out, like what happened in detail.
Yeah.
But basically, I was arrested on national TV and
Cool.
got a label that will carry with me for the rest of my life,
Oh,
potentially. But nothing ever happened
okay. Yeah.
because it was a trap or a sting.
Yeah.
But I don't I look at who I was, and it woke me up. It saved my life. I mean, of course, first I went down to the pits, wanted to end my life. I thought my whole life was over. I thought my wife was going to leave me. That I had destroyed everything in my life because I had not dealt with all the old junk in my past.
Yeah. It might be extreme, but it's also so relatable, because the point is none of us don't go through shit and come out clean the other side. So excuse me if I can't curse, right? But like Andy Dufresne and The Shawshank Redemption. Like, I wrote my senior thesis in college on The Shawshank Redemption, and hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies, has been my life quote ever since I was 22 years old. But the point is, humans go through a lot of stuff, and the narrative will be told whether we tell it or not. And so it really should be
Right.
our mission. I mean, I have the chills for you
Right. It's our story. We should be the one telling it.
it. Yeah. And haters are going to hate. And, my Bradley instance has nothing on what you're talking about, but somebody listening is in between where both of us are. And it's
Right.
the perseverance, and it's the resilience, and it's saying yes, taking messy, imperfect action, and then figuring it out.
Right. Oh, and the other thing that it taught me, I learned this in one of my classes that I took, and it's not just accepting, like you shared, your story, and you're like, all the shame and all that garbage is gone from it. And you share it not out of ego or not out of look at me, but like, hey, I did it. You can too.
Yeah.
What are you afraid of? Like, you might not have the same situation. So just do it, right? Just take the action. It's messy. It's imperfect. People will resonate, the right people.
Yeah.
The wrong people won't, and they'll make rude comments and whatever else. And so, but I learned to not only forgive for what happened to me, forgive myself for the mistakes I made, but I actually transitioned to being grateful for everything that happened. Because what I learned in that course was the teacher, there was a woman, she was trying to raise money for abused women. She herself had been abused. And the teacher asked her, he says, "Are you grateful for what happened?" And she looked at him like he was nuts. "What do you mean?" He's like, "Look, I'm not saying it was your fault, or, I'm not saying any of that." He's like, "But until you release it and actually be grateful for it, you won't move." And she did. She made the transition and raised like 5 times the amount she was trying to raise.
Right.
For mission.
Yeah, because the frequencies, we were just talking about this today in my in-person event, like the frequency in which we as humans should operate at are love and gratitude, and bad things happen to really good people, right? But
right, and we all make mistakes.
Yeah, 100%. Like the victim, the blame, the resentment, anger, like I'm going down and down. All of these are lower level frequencies. And so it's got to be hard for somebody who's been abused to find gratitude in it. But when we can forgive, then we can, our life will change for the better, and others around us will as well. So I never,
Right. And it'll
yeah. I mean, this is why I believe so powerfully in sharing the particularities of the story, because it's more human bonding experiences. Then you start saying, well, my story's not that bad, but my story sure as heck felt bad. And that could be anybody saying it, right? Like in my life, my story was bad. And I never once blamed my company. I never once did a post that said, woe is me. I had a decision to make. And my decision was, I'm LinkedIn launching my new business. That was my post. An hour or so after I put a picture in the book, Say Yes and Figure It Out. Like I didn't even know what I was selling. I just took a step and decided that now or never, right? But it wasn't, let me blame somebody, let me hold a grudge. I mean,
exactly.
I still think about that CEO. Like, I don't know why he's never reached out to say, I'm sorry, it wasn't personal, but I know it wasn't personal. Like, I know it wasn't personal. He set me.
Right.
So actually, I should be thanking him.
Right. Well, and I had a similar experience where I walked into work. Well, actually, I had seen the writing on the wall. I was working for a major telecom company. All of a sudden, my workload just dropped. And I'm sitting at my desk taking the free courses the company offered, because at least, because I had to come in and check in. And I went to the boss and I said, look, you got some extra work you need help with? I said, because my workload is nothing. He's like, no, it's just slow right now. Don't worry. They'll probably let me go before they let you go. Then I come in one day, a few months later, and he says, hey, Sean, can I see you in my office? And the other guy in the office walks out, and I'm like, okay, I know. It's like you said, you know exactly what's happening. And he did this. He's like, okay, so blah, 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 blah. Like he read it right off a script.
Yeah. The corporate.
And couldn't look. Yeah, he was just like, I think he was scared to death, because I'm like, I looked at him. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like, this is how you're going to do it?
What am I supposed
to? Do I need to call security? I'm like, I'm not getting crazy. That's not me. I'm not going to start a fight or nothing. I just I'm looking at you human to human and saying, hey, and in the moment I was angry. I was hired 6 months later before my severance ever ran out. And I didn't realize even at the time until last year that I started putting all the dots together. That layoff was my wake-up call, but it didn't wake me up.
Oh.
I took the new job, ground some more on a new path. The company actually was one of the major scandals of the early 2000s. The Enron level scandals where the books were cooked from the CEO. Like the CEO and the CFO were arrested, but I didn't see it. Took a new job, pushed hard, ground hard, living the California life, as you said, and blew my life up because I hadn't dealt with any of it.
Right.
Yeah, I look back, I'm like, that was my wake-up call. That was God, the universe, whatever, telling me like, hey, you need to shift.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention. I just put my head down and went back to work. But now I go, okay, yeah. Now I can look back, hindsight's 2020, and say, if only I'd listened. But I can't go back and change it.
Yeah.
And same thing, I think about him from time to time, like that, I can still picture that in my mind of walking in and having that conversation and being upset. But I've also learned, have you ever heard of the drama triangle?
Tell me. Yeah, tell us.
So it says we tend to run one of three roles. Sometimes we play the victim. Woe is me. It's their fault. If I just had the better boss or better whatever. You have the villain.
Okay.
Well, I'm the evil, gonna get them. Or the hero. And we sometimes jump around. Like, okay, we get tired of playing victim, so we jump over to hero. Let me save the world. None of them are right. They all just bring drama. And I think that's part of what leads us to be coaches, is because we're like, I don't want to play hero. I don't want to play victim. I don't want to play villain. I want to be the noble, the sage guide. Like, look, this is what I learned on my journey, and this is how it can help you have less pain, I hope. Like, that's my hope. Let's learn from my mistakes.
Let me compound time and all of my problems so that you don't have to make them, so that your life's a little easier than mine has been. Oh, this was so fun, Sean.
Yes. We talked about highlight reel, right? How people look at where you are today, and they're at day one, you're at day, 2.5 years in, whatever. The highlight reel. What's a moment where saying yes went sideways in your opinion? And what did it teach you about trusting yourself in motion?
Yeah, it would be this other job I took, because I thought I was doing the right thing, and that's okay. I'm so glad it was only 4 months, but 1 week into taking the job, I knew it was the wrong decision. But you're already in it now, and you're like, okay, well, we're going to make it work. And then I brought an old colleague over. So I brought her into the mess, right? So same, right? Like the writing on the wall, but you can't see it. And yeah, it just, at the end of the day, like, I don't blame them at all either. I'm so grateful for everything. I try to really truly be just grateful for the experiences, but that is what taught me to draw the line in the sand and say nobody else's opinions pay my bills. Meaning, I had haters like, oh, nothing in grand scheme, but like, Kristin's the girl that always posts selfies. I don't even know what that means, but that gave me imposter syndrome from not posting for the longest time. And when you're in the coaching industry, you got to communicate somehow. When you're in any business, communicate, right? So,
right. If you're in business online, you got to.
You're in any business, I mean,
yeah.
We all shop at Target. Target's a business. It might be a household name now, but yeah, I had to decide that I needed to trust myself more. So it's not easy, but that's what happened, was when I took that other job.
Yeah. All right. Before we close, Kristin, if someone is standing at this moment, at the precipice, right, where fear and possibility are intersecting, what's one truth you want them to carry with them as they walk forward?
It's never going to be the right time. Like, you're never going to have all the answers, all the money, all the white space. Your kids are never going to be the right age. Because I know you have a kid, the saying is true also with kids. There's never a right time. Like, and unfortunately, some people wait so long that they didn't even know they couldn't have kids, and they've waited so long and now they also can't have kids. Other people go through so many losses and miscarriages, and it's not to bring up a challenging subject, but there's never a right time to have a kid. You're never going to be fully ready to have a kid until you literally just have a kid. And I know I wanted 4 boys, and then that was in my 20s. And then I had my first kid at like 38. And I was like, and I was a nanny in college. Like, I had nieces and nephews already. I thought kids.
Right.
I was like, this is hard. So
and my experience was we read all the books about attachment parenting and baby-led weaning and all of this stuff. And like you said, I was the oldest of 4, so I was changing my siblings' diapers and stuff. My sister had kids. I was taking care of her kids for 2 years because she just abandoned them. And again, I thought, I'm ready. I got this. And then he came, and it's like there was things we had to think about that I didn't even think about needing to think about.
Right. Yeah. And it was so hard that I was like, that's it. I'm one and done. And then we had a miscarriage, and then we had our 5-year-old. And obviously, I love both of my children immensely, through the moon. I'm so grateful. Right. And now I lost track of the question, but I know that the analogy is spot on. It's like never a good time. If they're standing at the precipice, that's what it was. They're
Right. Yeah. Where possibility and fear,
N-
there's never a right time.
now, right now,
You just
right
got to
now,
step. You got to take the step,
one
right?
step. Yeah.
There's no tomorrow. There's no tomorrow on the calendar. If you look on the calendar anywhere, I'll pay you $500 right now if you can show me a calendar that says tomorrow, because it doesn't. Ready is a myth, right? It's something we strive for. And even you said imposter syndrome. I was going to key in on that. I don't even use that word because one of my submissions is to stop pathologizing imposter thoughts.
Yep.
Because everybody has them. They're not an alert system. They're a signal that you are stepping into the next level.
Yeah, we should be leaning in to they say,
Right.
so anxiety and excitement, it's when you get the butterflies, it's the same.
Right. The body reacts the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's only how our brain internalizes whether it's anxiousness or fear versus excitement and happiness. And Tony Robbins will say, change your state. Like, you get to decide. So yeah, you and I this has been super fun because we share the same, we share a lot of the same talk tracks, and that's why people have to keep listening to your show and keep showing up in your circles and putting themselves in the room, because we need people like you, like me, like the communities that we're in, because that's how we keep rising, right? Because even when we get over failure is bad, or imposter syndrome, we all have it, we still need help, right? Even when we mental health help, it's like, who's our guide? Who's our
Right. Well, and community, you said community, and you have your own community, and you're also part of another community that is amazing, Stacy's community. One of the pillars of my frameworks is community. It's about leveraging the power of community, of others to stand beside you and encourage, hold accountable, cheer
with. Yep.
Cheer, like, hey, you're doing great. Keep doing the work. It's your breakthrough's coming. Don't give up. Right. Or my favorite Japanese phrase, fall 7, get up 8.
Yeah, because when our kids, my 5-year-old just turned 5. So I'm the mom who put the reel together, right, on Instagram. And so I'm going through all the old videos and footage. And then now Instagram's feeding me more things like that. And so this morning, it was 4 quadruplets as babies learning to walk. And what happens when we are learning to walk? We don't walk instantly. We don't even fall down 7 times. We fall down 700 times. And we are cheering them on like our life depends on it, because we know they'll do it when it's time. And the crazy thing is, with the quadruplets, one started walking, and then it was 2 months later, and then 3 months later, and then like, it wasn't all even at once. So we could the analogies are just so good with like, so my framework is decide, take a step, lean in, and celebrate. That celebration phase is so important, even when we aren't walking yet, even when we're failing. It's so important.
Right. We're falling on our face.
Yeah. So important to celebrate.
Yeah. I have a story to go with that. So these kind of stools.
Okay.
This was my son's walker when he was born. Because they slide across the floor, because everything's tile here. There is no carpet. See, that was another challenge, is raising, like, all the challenges of raising a child, and then you do it in a developing country. We can't just go to Walmart and buy all the things that we were buying. Cloth diapers, Kristin, one at a time, because we would go to the store and he'd have 1 or 2, and he's like, that's all I got. I'm like, okay, we'll be back next week when the truck comes. How many you got that week? So we were like piecemealing his diapers together, and then he was below preemie size, so you couldn't even use him for the first 3 months.
Oh my God.
But he taught himself to walk with this plastic stool, And we were down by the lakeside in the city we lived in at the time. And there's a little boy who wasn't walking. He grabs the plastic stool and starts showing the other little boy. He's like, no, this is how you do it. Like, he wasn't saying that, but he was demonstrating, like, this is how you do it. It's so much easier, because power of community is so big.
Oh, way to bring that home. So fun.
So what's the easiest way to find you, Kristin?
SayYesAndFigureItOut.com or on all of the social platforms. You just Google Kristin Gutierrez. And I always tell my clients, make sure you're Googleable. Right? Make sure you're contributing to,
and you're ChatGPTable.
I love that. Because I always think that like my ChatGPT is biased because like I am Kristin. So like, do you really know who Kristin is? You're going to tell me what I told you I am.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, ask.
So I always have my friends check for me.
I love that.
Because like you said, I think your own account is biased towards you because it knows everything you've told it.
Yeah.
But if you have other people, because it's the reality, AI is here to stay. Yeah. And it's not enough to just be findable on Google. You need to be able to be found on what they call the answer engines.
Love it.
And of course, I'll share all the links for Kristin.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And including your link to because your book's on Amazon.
Yes.
And I believe there's a link on your website as well.
Yeah.
You get over there.
I have 3 books. A note. So this is my first book, Be a Better Sales Leader. And this is the book that you know me for, Say Yes and Figure It Out. And then this is the book we talked about that's coming out in 2026, Simpler, Faster, Richer.
Right. So you've got the nifty author copy there.
It's a hooker on a Say Yes and Figure It Out book.
It works.
So
hey, because I live in Guatemala and Amazon doesn't ship here, I don't have my book.
Oh, yeah. Put your link in the bio.
I need to get it here. Like next time I go, we have my wife's book. She's released a book in 2 different languages, a journal for women for healing after the age of 50, which segues nicely to my upcoming book, Reborn at 50. The tagline is The Rebellion Manual for Those Who Refuse to Fade.
Ooh. When is that coming out?
I hope by second quarter next year. It's a big project. It's it's 20 chapters.
Well,
it's a big endeavor. It's a deep book. Yeah.
All right. We'll put the link.
Much, Kristin. Yes, I'll put all that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us here on Beyond the Boost. I really appreciate it and getting to know you a little more.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'll see you soon.
All right, everyone. Have a great one. We'll see you on the next episode. Take care. Thanks for tuning in to Daily Power Boost. Ignite your potential. Remember, transformation starts with action. So take today's insight, make it your own, and awaken your inner potential. Because remember, greatness begins within. Catch you tomorrow for your next Power Boost.